name is Chelsea Matthews. Today I will be completing my assignment. Well, I will be going through all of my company research that I've conducted over the past few months, and I will be listing some pros and cons about said companies. So far, I've really enjoyed this kind of series of going through and researching different companies and seeing which ones kind of align with my aspirations, because it also kind of gives me some insight and some ideas on what I can implement whenever I get my career up and running. One that I do want to speak on, Wills for Wishes. That one kind of really stuck out to me because I do plan to open up my own daycare, and with that I want to implement some services that are very useful and that both are beneficial for families and the children. So I want to have like an open transportation like that was available for parents who were unable to maybe come get their kids or even drop them off in the mornings. I was gonna kind of implement that transportation service into my center. So that's one that I really kind of enjoyed researching. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first one that we're gonna talk about is Save the Children. I believe this is not the first one I did, but this one was kind of very, I want to say touching because of the history behind it. I really like this one because of the way that Eglantine kind of continued to fight, regardless of the race that she was, or regardless of the race of the children that she was trying to fight for. She did it, you know, from the bottom of her heart, and she did it with grace. And regardless of her arrest, even after she got released, she still continued to put in a word for children who were in need. So some of the pros that I got from that website was how she's already, well, she's no longer with us, but her company and her organization has came a long way. It operates in over 100 countries, and it provides emergency relief and long-term developmental programs. They also focus on health, education, and the protection for children in need in these very crucial areas that some children grow up in. They may grow up without the necessities that they need, so these Save the Children is kind of put into place to kind of prevent that or mitigate that issue. Another pro I would give is that the avocation, like I said, regardless of the race or background or demographic or anything, she disregarded all of that and strictly stood for fighting for children who needed help. So the advocate for children's rights, and the way that she, you know, was persistent and never gave up. Some cons were kind of like the funding, because of course during that time there was not a lot of funding going towards, you know, helping children or anything like that. So it kind of was a struggle because they literally came up from nothing. And a lot of these companies that I'm going to talk about, they kind of depend on the donators and kind of outsiders to fund their, you know, companies, and even resources. Like they depend on like, you know, the supporters and stuff like that. So that was probably one con. Another con is maybe, well, some people kind of expressed like some disagreement with the funds and how they're being used. I didn't too much see that on their website, and maybe that's another con. They didn't have all the information that they should have had on their website, specifying the percentages and where the funds are going specifically. Next, we're gonna move to Wheels for Wishes. This one was the one I talked about in the beginning, where I really like the idea of, well, this specific company, they focus on trying to actually get cars for families who don't have a car, and kind of like Make-A-Wish. But some of their pros are that they support companies like Make-A-Wish, and these companies all work together, and all their donations goes towards vehicle donations and stuff like that. Another pro would probably be the convenience of the process. They offer like free towing and free roadside assistance for those who already have a car, or if you don't have a car, they make their way, or they go out their way to make sure that you can get a car, or you can donate a car if you just want to help someone who may need one. And it also has been said that they hold a 9.3 out of 10 rating stars, with donor praising its efficiency. So this is probably one of many efficient companies that kind of have gone a long way longevity wise, and is kind of still pursuing in that vision that they had. Some cons will probably be like the cost. Again, like, they're so dependent on their donators that sometimes they may like overprice or overcharge for specific things because they're just trying to get the profit back so that they can keep going on with what they're doing. Yeah, that was probably the only con that I found with that one. Maybe another con is that the website kind of was set up not really like informing. It was more so like if you're ready to donate, or if you're ready to like if you're ready to donate, that's kind of what it was circled around. Like, I understand, I mean, if you scroll down, you can see like their mission, and they kind of throw out some of their accomplishments that they have made, but overall there's really no like history on their website that kind of gives you background information on how they came up. So I had to do outside research to actually get more information on their company. So yeah, that would probably be another con. Next, we're gonna go to Joybridge Kids. They had about 2 pros. One of the pros was their focus and their dedication to deeply wanting to support underprivileged children in these communities that were really suffering. I actually like Joybridge Kids because it was so like, it wasn't, centered on one thing. It was so like, it was a variety of many different things that that they are committed to when it comes to children. You can tell like they're passionate about helping children reach, the goal and the developmental stage that they need to be in and that they should be meeting. Like, they have a lot of different aspects in which they kind of help kids, specifically focus on kids with autism, but they have other programs outside of that, which I think kids with autism deserve a lot of attention, and they are just as special as any other child. they deserve to be treated, you know, with the same type of respect, and overall, like, they're just as regular as a regular kid. I don't really like to kind of separate them, because it's like they're still children at the end of the day, regardless of their differences. They're still human. So I really like Joybridge kids. Another pro is that how they are very community engaged focused. They are like very big on going to local communities and like handing out resources and kind of giving that one-on-one support face to face. One con that they did have was their website kind of didn't really, it had a lot of information, but it's not, you know, as in-depth as I thought it would be. To kind of get more information on their background, you have to go to like other outside sites outside of joybridgekids.com. Their website is kind of brief. They kind of just give you the services, what they offer, their therapy. They are really kind of big in therapy, so that is mainly what the kind of website focuses on. It has some question and answers that they get frequently asked, and they go ahead and added it down there. Excuse me. But overall, like, it kind of had a lack of information. Not lack, but limited information. Yeah, not on their main website at least. So that was it for the Joybridge kids. The last two are Habitat for Humanity. So Habitat for Humanity, I actually like this company because I actually got to, thought I had to see. I actually got to kind of experience like what they do and like what they kind of go for. Bless me. Bless me, sorry. But I kind of got to experience like what their whole vision is. So their pros, I really enjoy the fact that they, excuse me, sorry. I enjoy the fact that they provide affordable housing for low-income families. And it's the fact that two people actually came up with the idea of just, excuse me, building houses for those who, you know, are just unable to do so, or even just pay rent. Like, they literally will build the house and, you know, cover rent if needed, maybe get some utilities, some electricity, some heat, some water. They will kind of do all that for you to just get you on your feet. But of course, like, they won't do that for you, like, in like the whole entire stay that you're there, or it depends on what your situation may be. They're very flexible. Yeah, they are kind of just like house on wheels. Like, they come to you and they kind of talk to you, and you can also donate to families, or you can donate to them, because again, these companies, specifically nonprofit, they don't get funds from the government, and they are strictly depending on volunteers and donors and all that stuff. Another pro for Habitat is the volunteer opportunities. Like I said, they have one here in Durham in which they reach out to kids here at Central to come and do some volunteer work with them. They collaborated with 1111 Durham, which I am a part of. We're kind of not really active right now, but I'm sure we will be soon. But yeah, they did a collaboration with them, and they actually were building, I'm not sure what exactly the building was, but they were 1111 Durham and Habitat Humanity. I did a collaboration where we all came out and we came together, and they did a building for them, and they just laid out wood. Of course, they gave you all PPE equipment. PPE. They gave you all the materials, and you got a hard hat and, you know, glasses and all that stuff. So yeah, they're active within the community and stuff like that. And they are globally present, so they're kind of basically worldwide. They're not just, you know, local here just in North Carolina. They're kind of plastered all around the states. Some cons, again, would be the funding dependency, which they rely heavily on donations and volunteer labor. You know, sometimes volunteer work is for free, but then sometimes it is paid work. So they kind of really have to budget and manage their money well when it comes to that, specifically because they don't want to just, you know, throw all their money into one project and then the next project comes and then they don't have the money for that or the resources or whatever the case may be. So yeah, the dependency on funding is kind of a con for a lot of them, being that they are a nonprofit. But regardless of the funding, they are very, you know, beneficial in these communities and are making a big difference. And then another con, I kind of had to go and find this one. Some people would be concerned about the funds towards the expenses, like the program costs. I'm not too sure the whole entire cost because I didn't go through like the whole sign up thing. And like actually find out the costing of it. But I know that they will, that they don't give away houses, but they build models that offer mortgages with affordable monthly payments. On their website, they do not list how much the monthly payments are, yet they do kind of include that at Habitat, homeowners take financial education classes to help them manage their affordable mortgages, and they also kind of advocate for fair and housing policies. So it states that the repayments are cycled into helping more families build and rehabilitate more affordable homes. So of course the money that they get from building these homes, they use it to help these families. So they do offer some type of financial literacy when it comes to home ownership for a first-time owner or just anyone in general. So yeah, that was one con. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about Adopt Us Kids. This one was the one where it kind of focused on foster children and just children who, have nowhere else to go. And I kind of like their website because it's very brief. They even have a section where you can meet the children or you can search for children in the adoption and foster care. They give you an overview. They have parental support. They give you a outline of how to adopt and foster. They have a About Us tab where you can go and look at their history and stuff like that. Their website is pretty brief. All of the websites were pretty brief, but it kind of gave you the information that you needed. Some pros for that website, Adopt Us Kids, were the support overall that they have in foster care, and you can just see the dedication that they have when it goes towards supporting these kids who may lack home and home care. Another pro would be the aim to kind of get more foster and adoptive families to adopt. Their recruitment process is very strong and very broad. They kind of do good with like advertising and getting their voices heard and kind of putting themselves out there to make sure that these children can find a home. And then one more pro was the resources. So like I said, they offer very good resources for parents. Like if you're a first-time parent, it's your first time adopting, they give you a whole kind of, thorough, brief overview on everything you need to know. They touch bases, they keep in touch with you. They may do like checkups or like follow-ups or meetings to ensure that everything is going smooth since the adoption. So they're very good with kind of communicating and keeping in touch with their adoptive parents or the adoptive parents. Some cons would probably just be, like I said, maybe a little bit more information on like the actual, well, no, they did have a process on their website on like how you go through it and stuff like that. Their website was very good. That was probably the most organized website that I researched. But one con would probably be since they are a nonprofit, they don't directly provide adoption services. It's actually handled by like the state agencies. So it may be like a limitation to the recruitment process, and it may be like kind of a wait or like a delay in these processes because of course like go through CPS and DSA or DSH and DSS, and then yeah, so that was probably the only con for that one. Pretty much Adopt Us Kids, I like that they focus on adoption and foster care, but I think they could kind of tie a little bit more into their programs as far as like maybe offering programs for the kids, and like, I'm sure they do kind of give them, directions on like just basic, bathing, brush your teeth, and all that, like, hygiene stuff, but maybe about like, the mental, like, if somebody have mental health or anxiety or depression, just being in the state that they've been in. But other than that, all 5 of these websites have been amazing research. They all kind of really tie into what I want my goals and my career to revolve around. I'm really big on kids. I will advocate for children all the way down. I believe children deserve everything and more. So yeah, this has kind of really opened my eyes to the struggles that some may endure, and just to always remember, just being blessed and grateful and humble in any situation. And I cannot wait to be able to give back to those who need it the most. So thank you so much.